Broadcasting loud, live and direct from the Trust Centre. This is GFM 96.6 and online gloucesterfm.com. It's Holly alongside Bantu in the house with the GFM Survival Pledge Show. We are trying to raise more funds to keep your favourite community radio station on air. We need you to help us raise the required amount to guarantee us an extension to our licence. The listeners of GFM have expressed that they wouldn't be happy if the station goes off air. As this was expressed in our survey, which we did in the city of Gloucester, this is what they had to say.
I'll be disappointed, actually. Very disappointed. Well, let's hope we can get enough money to stay on air.
I think it would be a terribly sad thing. I think there would be a lot of people, myself included, who would really miss out from having a radio station that focused on community issues, that was run by people of the community, for the community, because you don't get that from mainstream commercial stations at all.
Not very good. I think it'd be disastrous if GFM comes off here. Part of my everyday life now, you know. GFM goes on in the morning while I'm making my cup of tea. GFM is on while I'm cooking my dinner. GFM is on while I'm driving to work. So it's really great, and it would be disastrous if it's not on air anymore.
I don't listen to radio anymore. My type of music's not going to be played.
We really do need this type of thing in our community.
That would be a bad feeling, to be honest. I wouldn't feel good if GFM goes off here, because what would people do, especially for those who listen to the gospel music and for those who actually listen to their radios on GFM 24 hours a day? That would be a bad feeling, not a good feeling to community. It would be a definite loss to the community.
Sad, definitely sad.
Very, very upset.
Because they're just such a great radio station.
Yeah, come on.
I'd be devastated. Really, really gutted.
You're going back, like you're moving backwards in time instead of moving forwards in time. I know it's not easy for GFM to stay on the air without the support of the community, as in money, because it's apply for a license, because there's fees attached to anything. And if you can't meet the fees, then it's the end of the station, isn't it?
It sounds like the desire to keep GFM on air is really high. If only we can translate that into pounds. We also need the listeners to help out by putting up fundraising events for GFM like Holly did. However, may you please make sure you contact GFM before you do. In the meantime...
It was boring. I used to listen to them when they were on with Ivanhoe, which was very good.
It was okay. Depends on what you was listening to and what you want to listen to.
Well, I've not that long been listening to GFM, but basically was really happy when I found the station because they play music that I like. It's really hard to find decent reggae, decent dance hall, hip-hop stuff on commercial radio, because they'll play one if it's in vogue, if it's in the charts at the moment, but otherwise you don't tend to hear that much at all. That's the music I like, so yeah, it's much better now that GFM's around, because they play a lot more different music, and music that I wouldn't necessarily otherwise have heard of, so it's great.
Not very good. I used to have to listen to Seven Sound, and I used to make special times when like Ivanhoe was coming on and Jerry Hip Kiss, but in between that I used to be playing my own record.
It was rubbish. My type of music wasn't played often.
Quite boring. They didn't have a good variety of music, especially for the Afro-Caribbean section of the community.
It's not the same now. As a gospel artist, couldn't get my song to be played on the radio. Probably people couldn't be blessed by the music I do at the moment, so...
It was boring and just rubbish because I couldn't listen to everything I wanted to.
Rubbish because other radio stations didn't used to play the music I wanted to listen to.
I've heard of like dances and everything, what's going on in Gloucester and everything like that, and you can't listen to that on any other radio station.
Same thing, yeah.
I never used to tune into the radio because it was boring and they played the same music over and over again.
Before GFM, we had Seven Sound with Ivanhoe Campbell, which is years ago, I know. That was the closest thing we had to GFM before GFM actually came up. So listening to the radio was pretty non-existent before GFM.
Surely you can imagine that if ever GFM fails to get an extension to our broadcasting license, listening to the radio may become a bore, and all the community information which is personal to only us here in Gloucester will become redundant.
And if you try to tune into GFM 96.6, the airwaves will sound like this. Fortunately, we are still broadcasting, and we hope it stays that way if we manage to raise the funds to keep us on air.
That's the word, you heard me?
GFM.